Um, Nobody signed up for the open forum. We have no emails, so moving along, we have an open board position. And Tom, would you explain the process we've decided on?
So let's back up. We'll talk about the general election for the board, and we're right now at 23.2%. So we're creeping up. Looks like we're going to wind up about 25, maybe 26% by the time it closes on the 21st at 6 p.m. So make sure that if you're at home and you have not yet voted and you haven't received a ballot, you can always call us and try and find out why you haven't received the ballot. But get your votes in. There's still time. Moving on, so we do have an open board position on May 6th. Mike Abb, in the packet you can see Mike Abb's email to David and myself informing us of his decision to resign, and the decision was based upon any potential conflict of interest because he works for the Runway Group. The Runway Group is closely affiliated with Blue Crane, which recently purchased the developer rights from Cooper. So he voluntarily resigned before the announcement even came out. So per tradition, how we've been doing it for years and years, is the board announces it, which we've already announced it. We will continue to announce it, and applications are due by May 23rd at 5 p.m. We did change one thing this time in that previously we asked people to submit a resume. We are now asking them to submit a candidate profile. We found that some people just didn't have resumes or they hadn't updated it in years and so forth. And for the general election, you have to fill out a candidate profile. So we figured it makes sense. We'll just make it consistent. Now you'll notice that the deadline, May 23rd, is actually after the results for the general election, which is May 21st. And so we did that intentionally because the three candidates that are not elected could decide to send in their candidate profile, which they've already filled out, and ask the board to be considered for the open board position. Now the open board position is only for 1 year, and then they would have to be elected by the membership. So if you're interested, and we've already received a few candidate profiles submitted, so that's outstanding. Everybody that does submit a candidate profile will get interviewed by the board. It'll take place on May 28th. We haven't set the time yet. We're gonna, as in what time we're gonna meet with them and how long. Not we, it's actually the board. I shouldn't have inferred myself. But the board will meet with them on the 28th. We'll set the calendar or the schedule for that day after May 23rd once we know how many candidates there will be.
That would be the new board we'll meet.
The newly elected board. So and what I mean by newly elected, that means the 6 returning board members, actually the 5 returning board members, and then the 3 newly elected, either newly elected or newly re-elected. So it'll be those 8 will determine who will fill the 1-year seat. Any questions? All right.
Okay, next item up is the always popular budget calendar. Pretty much the same as we've had in previous years. Dates have changed a little bit, but the order is pretty much the same. We try to get that budget approved so that we don't have a down to the last minute situation in December or something like that. So very shortly, budget preparations will begin. We won't really see anything on that until fall. The next item, were there any questions about the budget calendar? I didn't think so. There's a waiver request for an emergency water main project. We had one of the major water mains down in the Sugar Creek Shopping Center was through and started spewing water and destroyed the parking lot to a certain extent. It was an emergency. It's one of two main water lines in that area, so the work has been done, it's been paved, and everything is finished. It came in at right around $82,000, a little bit higher than what we had anticipated, but we will be voting on a waiver request for a capital project at next week's meeting. Next item, the replacement, to authorize the purchase of a replacement work truck for the water department. We had one stolen and significantly altered and damaged along with the trailer. The insurance company deemed it a total loss, so we are going to replace that high mileage vehicle with one with way less miles on it, but we have to kick in some, obviously. So we'll be voting on that request for $42,000 roughly, and get them back up and running with the trucks that they need. Any questions on that one?
I don't have any questions on the truck per se, but this reminded me of something, so I just want to plant a seed for a future conversation. I don't know whether we had any security cameras where this was stolen, where this truck was stolen or not, but we had another car broken into at Branchwood while somebody was playing pickleball. And so I really think we need to have some serious conversations about more security cameras so that at least then the police have something to go on to try to stop thefts.
So we found out that the security cameras at MAC were old and grainy, and so we've already upgraded those, and then we're going through and adding security cameras at different locations. Our original plan was to place them at Tanyard first, because that's where we get the most police reports. But if we renovate where we're going to place the pole to get a shot, you know, because there's one entrance and one exit, so we're going to have a camera shoot right there. That way you could get the license plate. Unfortunately, that is potentially where the entryway to the additional parking is located. So since we don't know what that parking lot is going to look like, we repositioned and we're going to add additional cameras here at the country club. We're going to add them at the rec, and now we're going to have to start thinking about at Branchwood. You know, unfortunately, you got a situation where, you know, at Tanyard, if the thief is in their car and they see someone get out of their car, they know they're on a hike for at least a half an hour, so they got a lot of time to do their mischief. So we're already moving forward and adding additional cameras to hopefully tamp down this. We've already I've personally had a conversation with the Bella Vista Police Department and talked to them about where they felt it made sense to add additional cameras and so forth. So
Yeah, people are always looking for something for nothing. Take it from other people. So that's the next step after we get the water department whole again. A satellite real estate office proposal. Tom, I'd like you to talk about that.
all right, so what we're looking at is the idea of opening a satellite real estate office, subbing that out, but opening it in at the country club, in the welcome area, sitting area, the upper sitting area. It's about 200 square feet, and we started talking with a number of local real estate offices about this idea, because we know it's a high traffic area and it would be a great service to our membership. So Jessica did the research. and she got together a list of all real estate offices that are located in the city of Bella Vista. Plus, we did the Coldwell Banker office in Bentonville, because that's so close to Bella Vista. A lot of their business is in Bella Vista. We only received one response to our RFP, and it was from Crylike, and we feel that it was a pretty good offer. Since this is a new endeavor and both sides aren't 100% clear on whether it's going to be a success or not, the idea is to have an initial 6-month term followed by 12 additional months if both parties agree. They'd be paying $3,000 a month for the lease space. They would only allow their top tier agents to work it. We wanted to make sure we didn't have a situation where we have a lot of rookies working the area. They've provided extensive hours that it would be open, including the weekend. What they indicated when Crylike made the presentation to the board is that instead of having their office located by Walgreens open on the weekends, they just have the satellite office open. And all their agents that would work at the location would agree to go through training with member resources. Because we know that they're going to field a lot of questions that are not related to real estate, and we want to make sure our membership can be taken care of. They'd provide the desks. It would be on our website, and in the board packet that is available on our website, you can see the location of the office. Now, we're not going to have partitions. They're not going to have anything. We want to have an open format. So it's not a situation where they're going to be meeting one-on-one to talk numbers. This is more, a meet and greet and so forth, and showing them potential houses. So that's going to be up for consideration and for a vote at next week's board meeting.
Just out of curiosity, what are the hours they're going to work from?
The hours they've indicated would be Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
So pretty extensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be a win-win for both. They have an opportunity to make first contact with people who have questions about Bella Vista, and we have an opportunity to have somebody available to answer people's questions about Bella Vista, because people come in with a lot of questions. They go, really? So I think it'll work out good. I hope it works out for them and for us. Next up.
Wait, I have a comment on this. So, a suggestion actually. So if they're gonna need some office equipment, wouldn't we be better off moving them back towards this wall here? And the reason I say that is because I used to have an insurance agency and I had an extra office that I rented out to someone. The problem is you give them a little space and they end up using the entire area.
Mission Creek.
Yeah. So like I had the lobby area, I had 3 offices, and this guy was he was an architect, he was only supposed to have 1 little office. He ended up in the lobby, he ended up in the break room, it's like, this really isn't working out. So I just don't want our members to feel like they're being bombarded when they walk into the entrance to the country club. I think it's great they're gonna be there to answer questions, because people move here and they don't know where to go or what to do, and so I think that's great. I'm just concerned that the whole area, even though they're supposed to have 200 square feet, I'm afraid the whole area. So if we could move them a little bit.
I'd say 2 things. Is first of all, I'm not concerned with them moving, because these are going to be, it's not going to be the same people. They have 17 agents that qualify, so it's not like they're setting up shop, or it's a personal desk and so forth. With that being, and if they start expanding their area, I'm just gonna go tell them no. With that being said, if that's a critical issue for the board, then no problem, we can push them to that corner. That's not a deal breaker for me.
I totally agree with that. On the very reasons she said, too, if they're gonna use the copy machines and things like that are in HR, if we're letting that happen, which is a great thing for them to have available. I just hate to see what happens if you have a presentation or something, which you have regularly in that area. Do we move the desk back out of the way? What do we do?
Since they're not gonna have any heavy equipment, like you said, they're gonna share our copier. So it's just gonna be a desk, so that, you know, when we have the Artist of the Month, or the quarter, Artist of the Month presentation, we're just gonna be moving desks and rearranging, just like we do every time we have the Artist of the Month event, because we have to rearrange the furniture anyways.
Well, I know, I thank you, because that's important.
Because they're not gonna have big file cabinets and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And they're gonna have a very clean desk, obviously, because
Yeah.
nothing on it. I don't know, I think, again, I think it's an amazing idea, I love it, but I don't like it in the middle, but that's not good.
If the board wants it to the side, that's, to me, that's not a deal breaker.
We can try it out and see how it works.
Okay.
Is the logic for putting it in the middle so that it's more visible as people come in the front door, or?
The logic, I think the logic is allowing seating on both sides, because we do get, the area closest to the HR counter, we do get candidates, employee candidates that'll come out and they'll fill out paperwork and so forth.
That's
in that
kind of what I was
area.
curious, does HR need that space for time to time?
So they could always sit.
On the other side?
It's not a, I'm not.
I'm not being critical, I'm
If
just
the board
asking.
is concerned and they want it in the corner, it's not a deal breaker, it's fine, we'll accommodate that, that's a minor tweak, I'm fine with that.
Okay, we'll have that issue to vote on next week. And we have another emergency capital request. This one concerns the Highlands kitchen floor drain. Go ahead and explain that, Tom.
You know, we went through years and years of operations coming in and going in there, and you know, they come and go every year, and we can't be assured that the maintenance was done on a consistent basis. So the floor drains have clogged up and crushed and everything, and we need to redo them. We had this exact same problem at Kingsdale. We had to redo all of theirs, all of the drain pipes in that kitchen also that had clogged up with grease that had been there for a long time. So unfortunately, it just happens, and so we will have to be closed for approximately 5 days, potentially 7 days, to get the work done, because you can't cook pizza when the kitchen's closed. So, but it's kind of we got to get it done.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just happens, and so I know the folks in the Highlands will be unhappy to not have the pub for a while.
But the bar will
Well,
still
the bar
be
will
open,
still
so
be open.
we're safe.
Excuse me.
We're safe.
Excuse me.
We're okay.
We marched and picketed on that.
I believe I heard Tommy Lee say that there would be sandwiches and such prepared at Lake Point and available for purchase there, so you're not gonna starve, and but it's gonna be an
go fishing.
inconvenience. So, okay, so we will have that one to vote on. The joint advisory committees, it's time of the year for them to make nominations for new members. They have turnover every year. And we have from the Recreation Committee, we have the nomination of Keith McCloskey and Kathleen Coughlin. So we'll have those to vote on next week. Were there any other, the other committees don't have them in yet. So be aware that there are openings on the lakes and the golf committees also. We have one late arrival for, would like to address the board. Jillian, on Ripon or Ripon?
I don't know. That's a good question. But thank you for keeping the open mic. I'm sorry I'm late. I thought I was early. I thought it was at 9:30. Anyway, I live next to a huge house that was just built and is having trouble selling. So they decided to rent it out for a long-term rental. And because it's like 4,300 square feet, I think it's unfair that I think it's the capacity is like 200 square feet per person, which based on the size of the house, it could be, you know, there could be legally over 22 people living there. And the house does have about 11 people living there from different families and everything. It's a 4-bedroom house, but there's also 2 offices, an extra living room, a media room. It's a huge house. And so room-wise, there is definitely capacity for everybody, but it's, you know, the constant coming and goings and everything like that. I already emailed someone from the city, I guess, and asked about, you know, and they said we only look at short-term rentals. They're you know, rules regarding that, but long-term rentals, there isn't anything. So I'm just, I guess, trying to see if there's a cap on the number of people that, or families that can live in a single house. You know, it's called a single-family housing for a reason. So that's my issue.
So the POA doesn't have any control over short-term or long-term rentals. And the Department of Health does have control over the septic system and the intended number of occupants. I would say that you know, several months ago and into a couple of years ago, the city was grappling with short-term and long-term rentals, mainly short-term rentals. I'm looking at JV because, yeah, and trying to come up with some sort of regulations regarding occupancy and in relation to the septic system, what's approved and so forth. So I'm not trying to kick the can down the road, but it's not a POA issue. I'd say continue to have conversations with the city and, you know, get involved with the city. If you came to this meeting, I'd encourage you to come to go to a city meeting and express your viewpoints there also.
Okay.
I can see that'd be very frustrating to have so many people live right next door and so forth. So I don't want to diminish anything you're saying. It's just not under our purview.
Fair enough.
And after this meeting, let's talk.
Okay. Sounds good.
And document, I'm assuming it's been a cumbersome for you with parking and different things, multiple vehicles, is that the case?
Well, they park in their driveway. I mean, their houses, their whole
Document,
garage is full of
photograph,
stuff. They don't even.
document, that'll help you as you pursue this.
Okay.
Are you on septic?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
JV is involved heavily with the city, and I think that she might be a good resource to help you out. But thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, if there are no other items, the announcements, we have quite a number of meetings and whatnot on the schedule, so I'm going to go through them. Next Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Lake Point, we will have the annual meeting. We will have the board election results and the report on the financial audit that is recently completed. So, as we mentioned earlier, the deadline for potential candidates for the open position to file their profile is Thursday, May 23rd at 5 p.m. Next Thursday at 6 p.m. will be the regular monthly meeting that I referred to when we're going to be doing the voting. The tour for the newly elected Board of Directors will be Friday, May 31st. This is just strictly for returning board members and new board members who want to see the extent of POA operations. This will be after the new board has selected a replacement candidate. Board orientation, Friday, June 7th at 9 a.m. here in the boardroom. This is a closed meeting and it goes on for a while. The Recreation JAC meeting, Monday, June 10th, 4 p.m. here. Lakes JAC, Wednesday, June 12th, 2 p.m. here. And Golf JAC, Wednesday, June 12th, 4 p.m. here. The next GM meeting, a closed meeting with the board, will be on the 13th at 2:30 p.m. The next work session will be Thursday at 9 a.m., June 20th. And June's regular monthly meeting will be at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom. With that, we have finished our agenda. Is there anything else? Thank you for coming.